Wyatt's new cellmate asked Wyatt, "Are you okay? Please stop. You see, I think that means you want some more." "No, please." "Please, some more? You didn't enjoy it?" "I know I did." "Stop." Gets up off the bottom bunk, stands up, and reaches for Wyatt. Wyatt calls for the guards. Toxic's telling him, "Be quiet." The morning guard came to the cell, and he looked shocked when he saw Toxic in the cell. And he said, "Who let you in here?" "What do you mean?" The guard opens the cell door with quickness. Toxic plays dumb and says he doesn't know who let him in the cell. Another guard came to the cell, and he had the same shock that the first guard had when he saw Toxic in the cell. The first guard told the second guard to get on the phone and find out who let him in this cell. The guard yells at Toxic and says, "Get out of here now." He then turns and asks Wyatt, "Are you alright?" Wyatt says, "No." The first guard tells the second guard to take Wyatt to the infirmary. Guard 2 whispers in guard 1's ear, "His dad's gonna be pissed." Guard 1 says, "You have no idea." The child welfare lady Aaliyah is at Hannah's house. She's asking questions, asking both Hannah and Benny where they work. When it was Benny's time to answer questions about where he worked, he said that he owns his own business. He owns his own towing company. Aaliyah asks, "Where is it?" Hannah jumps in and says, "He works from home." "No, it's on Wells Avenue. Just opened it a few days ago." "Well, it's not officially open yet." Hannah busts in and says, "What are you talking about, Benny?" Benny says, "Oh, I forgot I hadn't told you yet." "Don't lie, Benny, to impress this woman. I want that baby here." "Why are you trying to call me out? I have a partner." But he doesn't tell her that the partner is Candace. Hannah finally says, "Benny, that's great. You should have told me." Benny gets a phone call, and while he was away, Aaliyah asks Hannah if Candace could provide a stable home for QJ. No, she cannot, and she begins to badmouth Candace. She calls her a con artist, says she lies, says she steals, and she backbites. With a mother like Hannah, who needs enemies? Celine tells her son that Jim is going to call her any day now to tell her to come back to work. Her son calls her delusional and says he doesn't care about you or us. Stop protecting him. The DA, Jennifer, is having a meeting at the Cryer household with Jim, Catherine, David, and Veronica. She's playing a tape of Wyatt confessing, saying that he was driving the car that killed the little girl. He was drunk. Jim covered it up, and Veronica has the car. Jim turns off the tape and says, "You can tell by this tape Wyatt has a drug problem. He's grieving over the loss of his sister." Jennifer and Veronica go back and forth. Veronica says, "You already searched my home and found nothing." "You mean the home that mysteriously burned up in flames?" "That wasn't mysterious. I burned it down trying to kill my husband." Catherine says, "Veronica." Veronica says, "She asked a stupid question. I gave her a stupid answer." "Stupid DA." Veronica tells Jennifer, "B, find something else to do. Didn't you study the same law books that we did? If you did, you'll know that you need evidence, which you do not have." After going back and forth with everyone, Jennifer lets them all know that she's going after them all. Jim puts her out the house. She turned around to go through the house and out, but Jim stops her and says, "Don't go in my house, go around." Veronica lets everyone know that she knows that Wyatt has been in prison these last few days. Jim said, "How did you know that Wyatt was in prison?" She lied and said David told her. David played it off with her. He didn't say anything. Veronica turned to leave, and Jim says, "Veronica, Veronica said, "Don't you even try it." I believe he was going to tell her not to go through his house. Veronica wasn't having that. David followed after her. They were on the front porch, and he asked her how did she know Wyatt was in prison. "I'm a defense attorney. I have my ways," she says about Wyatt. "That boy's gonna learn." Then she got in her SUV and rolled on. David rushes into the house and tells Jim that he needs to go get Wyatt from prison. He says he has a bad feeling that Wyatt isn't as safe as Jim thinks he is. Veronica calls Benny while he's at the hospital. She says that she's on her way to his place. Benny says that he's not there right now and he'll be there in an hour. "What time?" "I just said I'll be there in an hour." "About an hour is not a time. Look, lady, do you want me to go off on you? I'm gonna need you to take that tone out your voice. I'm doing you a favor. I'll call you when I call you. Don't ask me all these questions. I'm not your man." When they hung up, Veronica said, "I see," and then said out loud, "Who the hell do you think you are?" Candace and Oscar finally get to the hospital. She walks into the room where QJ is and says, "Quincy, Mommy." He's all drowsy. They've given him a lot of medication, so he looks like he's about to fall asleep. Benny tells her that Quincy's sister Quita had him and was abusing him. Candace is crying. She says she checked at Quita's. She said she thought QJ was dead. Aaliyah says, "Your mother explained all that to us. When can I take him home?" "Well, about that, your mother has asked for custody." Candace and Benny looked at Hannah. Candace said, "What? I am his mother, and he is my son." Benny said, "Mom, don't do this." Benny's trying to help Candace out by saying that she has a job and telling her where she worked, the name of the place, Brennan and Brackett and something else. But he really wasn't helping because this was really a lie that Candace told him. Hannah interrogated Oscar, but Oscar knew the answer to every question that she asked. She asked what Candace's last name was, how old is she. Veronica is talking to Toxic on the phone. "You know you cold-blooded, right?" She said, "I got you off death row, didn't I?" "Yeah, and I appreciate that. You know, I almost felt sorry for him, but it felt so good." Veronica says, "Spare me the awful details." Toxic asks, "When is that money coming on my books?" Veronica hung up. Toxic says, "Hello? Hello? Hello?" He says, "Beep." Veronica says, "Never." Disgusting. Veronica goes to the tow yard. Maggie's PI calls her and tells her that Veronica is there. Veronica apologizes for Benny and her conversation earlier, and she begins to massage his neck. Benny says he can't do this married thing. "I won't be married much longer." Veronica takes her shirt off. "We can't be doing this." Veronica says, "We already have, and that was enough." "No, it wasn't. I haven't had sex this good in a while, and I have a feeling you never have." So they went on and did the do. Maggie goes to David's office and asks him to take a ride with her. She doesn't tell him where they're going. As they're walking out the door, Celine comes in looking for Jim. She says she's been waiting on Jim to call her. David tells her to go home. "It's done. It's over. I'm sorry, Celine." Celine says, "It's not over." Maggie takes David to the tow yard. They show up just in time to see Veronica coming out of the building. Maggie tells David she's been having Veronica followed. David tells her, number one, stop following my wife. And number two, what do you know about the car? What car? And that's where episode 20 ends. Stay tuned for episode 21. Pak Natural.